गुर दर्शन ताई। मेरा मन लोचै गुर दर्शन ताई। बिलप करे चात्रिक किनी आई। त्रिखाना उतरे साथ न आवे। बिन दर्शन संत प्यार जियो। हो गोली जियो गोल कुमाई। गुर दर्शन संत प्यार जियो। मेरा मन लोचै गुर दर्शन ताई। मेरा मन लोचै गुर दर्शन ताई। तेरा मुख सुहाव जियो सहज तून बाणी। तेरा मुख सुहाव जियो सहज तून बाणी। चेर होवा देखे सारंग पाणी। तन सो देस जहाँ तू बसया। मेरे सजन मीत मुरार जियो। हो गोली हो गोल कुमाई। गुर सजन मीत मुरार जियो। मेरा मन लोचै गुर दर्शन ताई। मेरा मन लोचै गुर दर्शन ताई। एक कड़ी ना मिलते ताकल जुग होता। एक कड़ी ना मिलते ताकल जुग होता। होण कद मिलिए प्रिय तुझ भगवंता। मोह रैण न वेहावे नींद न आवे। बिन देखे गुर दरबार जियो। हो गोली जियो गोल कुमाई। तिस सच्चे गुर दरबार जियो। मेरा मन लोचै गुर दर्शन ताई। मेरा मन लोचै गुर दर्शन ताई। पाग हो गुर संत मिलाया। पाग हो गुर संत मिलाया। प्रभु अविनाशी कार में पाया शिव करी पल चसाना विचरा जन नानक दास तुम्हारे जियो हो गोली जियो गोल कुमाई जन नानक दास तुम्हारे जियो मेरा मन लोचे गुरदर्शन ताई मेरा मन लोचे गुरदर्शन ताई बिलप करे चात्रिक की नियाई मेरा मन लोचे गुरदर्शन ताई। मेरा
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Today we have song by Juhi. Ishwarji has healed me. And then Growing in Gratitude by me. And then Talk by Michael. After Michael, Dr. Chand will talk about relaxed body, mind in Simran, attention in seeing and listening. And then we will have short meditation session to compose ourselves, put our attention towards our beloved Ishwar Puriji. And then we will watch Ishwar Puriji YouTube talk and group meditation with love and devotion right afterwards. Thank you very much. Michael, you will put Joy.
Yeah, but mute yourself.
ईश्वर ने दी है शिफा, सारी खुशियाँ मुझे मिल गई। तन्हा मेरी जिंदगी उनके आने से फिर खिल गई। ईश्वर ने दी है शिफा, सारी खुशियाँ मुझे मिल गई। तन्हा मेरी जिंदगी उनके आने से फिर खिल गई। उनकी कृपा मिल गई, मेरी दुनिया निहाल हो गई। उनकी कृपा मिल गई, मेरी दुनिया निहाल हो गई। बिखरे हुए थे जज्बात मेरे, उलझे हालात थे। सपने भी मेरे डूबे हुए थे गम की बरसात में। बिखरे हुए थे जज्बात मेरे, उलझे हालात थे। सपने भी मेरे डूबे हुए थे गम की बरसात में। मेरे ईश्वर ने थामा जो हाथ, आंसुओं की वो शाम ढल गई। अंधेरों ने मुंह ढक लिया, ख्वाहिशों की सुबह मिल गई। उनकी कृपा मिल गई, मेरी दुनिया निहाल हो गई। उनकी कृपा मिल गई, मेरी दुनिया निहाल हो गई। ईश्वर ने दी है शिफा, सारी खुशियाँ मुझे मिल गई। तन्हा मेरी जिंदगी उनके आने से फिर खिल गई। उनकी कृपा मिल गई, मेरी दुनिया निहाल हो गई। रूठा था मुझसे साया भी मेरा, रूठा था मेरा ज़मीं, टूटा हुआ था ये हौसला भी, हारी थी मैंने उम्मीद, रूठा था मुझसे साया भी मेरा, रूठा था मेरा ज़मीं, टूटा हुआ था ये हौसला भी, हारी थी मैंने उम्मीद, उन्होंने संभाला मुझे, जख्मों की दवा मिल गई, मेरे ईश्वर मिले जो मुझे, घर जाने की वजह मिल गई, उनकी कृपा मिल गई, मेरी दुनिया निहाल हो गई, उनकी कृपा मिल गई, मेरी दुनिया निहाल हो गई, ईश्वर ने दी है शिफा, सारी खुशियाँ मुझे मिल गई, तन्हा मेरी जिंदगी उनके आने से फिर खिल गई, उनकी कृपा मिल गई, मेरी दुनिया निहाल हो गई, उनकी कृपा मिल गई, मेरी दुनिया निहाल हो गई, मेरी दुनिया निहाल हो गई, मेरी दुनिया निहाल हो गई.
Mike, I deleted a paragraph. Can you talk and then I will talk? Please. Suddenly I saw that I deleted one paragraph from what I wrote.
Okay.
Thank you.
My dear brothers and sisters, welcome to the Holy Land. The Holy Land here where we all gather to remember our lost home, our lost true home where we all came from. That we sit here and I start saying, I start giving satsang, telling satsang every day, being the parrot of master, saying blah 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 this, blah 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 master, blah 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 love and devotion, blah 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 meditation. But it's not the blah 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 that is important. What's behind the blah 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 is the most important thing. Is that when we all sit and we all love Master, when we all concentrate on Master, when we all sit together in His love, then He is there. Where two or more gather in my name, there I am. So the most important thing is that we sit together in the warmth of God, in the warmth of Master, and then we imbibe His grace. He is with us, and He blesses us, and He showers us with His grace day after day after day. That every day we sit here, we utter words, and the words are not important. We sometimes we repeat ourselves. The subject of spirituality is limited when it comes to words, when it comes to the body, and when it comes to the mouth. That it is we repeat ourselves, but the most important thing is the essence behind the words, is the essence of Master, the absolute truth. So today's talk is about enlightenment. So blah 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 blah. Okay, now we can meditate. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. Okay, so enlightenment. Um, the saints and masters have said that there are many levels of enlightenment, And people who even experience the inner light could say that they are enlightened to some degree. Like when we start on this path and we start to see like blue sky or stars or suns or moons, that's some level of enlightenment. And we could call ourselves enlightened. A lot of people call themselves enlightened. So there are many, many levels of enlightenment. And Master in his talk, in his last talk, said that he was wearing the mask, and he was saying that we wear a mask on our true self, and actually we're not wearing just one mask over our true self. We're wearing three masks. We're wearing the mask of the physical body, the mask of the astral body, the mask of the causal body, and the mask of Corona. So the first thing we have to do is remove the mask of Corona. Then, once we remove the mask of the physical body and we start to use the astral body, then we are enlightened to that level. We are enlightened that we have removed the physical body and we can withdraw our attention here and we can use our astral body. And when we use our astral body and we see things from the astral region and we can travel the astral region and have journeys in the astral world, then we are enlightened to that level. And then when we and there are people who can reach that, not many, but there are people who can reach that, a lot of people who can reach that. But then the second level of enlightenment is those who remove the mask of the astral body and they go in within their astral body and then they reach the causal plane, they reach the mind. And then when they reach the mind, then there are very, very few people who have reached there, Master says, and those people can take you to the universal mind, and they think that they are enlightened, the full enlightenment. They think they are fully enlightened because they don't know that there is something even beyond that. They don't know that there is something beyond the mind. So this is another level of enlightenment. But once the initiates of a perfect master remove those four covers and then they reach the soul, then soul at that moment, it can behold its nature, it can behold its true essence and its true reality, and that is, it realizes that it is part of the whole, that it is part of the ocean of Godhead. It's part of the ocean of Godhead, and at that moment, it sees absolute reality and it sees the face of Lord God. So the mind and the mind, the body, the senses, the intellect, and the soul, when it is in the human body, it's all knotted together. It's all knotted together. And and mind and soul are two different entities. They are totally two different entities, but they are knotted together. And the only thing that can asunder this knot, that can open this knot and release this knot, is the Shabd. Is the Shabd. The Shabd is the only thing that can open this Nam. The Shabd or Nam is the only thing that can open this knot and can differentiate, release consciousness from unconsciousness, liberates consciousness from unconsciousness, and makes us realize what's the thorn and what's the flower, and sheds the veils of ignorance and delusion. So Shabd is what gives the reality. And then we start to see the reality of this world. There is a story that there was a man going to Mecca on a pilgrimage, and he was poor, and he wanted to have the appearance of a rich man. So he had a turban. So he stuffed his turban with all types of stuff to make it look big and look rich. So he put rags in it, and he put fur, and he tied it, and then it looked good. And as he was heading towards Mecca, there was a thief, and the thief ran to him and stole his turban and started running with the turban. And then the man started running and started telling him, hey, before you go, let me tell you, open the turban and see the reality of it. And if you like it, you can keep it. It's all yours. So the thief, as he was running, he opened the turban and the turban started to fall apart. And then the thief got mad and he started shouting, "You have cheated me! You have cheated me!" And the other man was telling him, "Yes, but I have told you, I have cheated you. I have told you it's, but I have told you the reality that it is fraud." So this world is the same thing as this turban. This world is the same thing as this turban. It looks very beautiful from the outside. The senses want want to eat the most delicious food. All these delicious foods that we see and our senses want them. Then you know what happens. We put them in our mouth, and you know what happens when they come from the other side. Then they show us the reality of what it is. That the reality of this world. That from the outside it looks beautiful, but the reality of it, that it's all delusion and illusion, and it all causes suffering. So the mind. So when we are connected with the Shabd and we start to remove these covers, then everything goes to where it belongs. The mind belongs to Brahm or Om or the universal mind, and then it is satisfied there because it merges in its essence. It merges where it belongs, and the material belongs here, and the soul is part of Sat Purush. The soul is part of Sat Purush, and that is the state of the soul, that it belongs to Sat Purush. That's where absolute truth and absolute reality is. So in Shabd, the truth is shown, and everything goes to its source, where it belongs. Body stays here, mind merges with the absolute, with the universal mind, with Brahm, with Om, and then it is satisfied there. It is satisfied there because that's the only word that it could be satisfied in its origin. And soul will only be satisfied because its soul belongs to God and the kingdom of God. So soul only is satisfied when it merges with Satpurush. There it is satisfied, it is happy. So what is Shabd? Shabd is a super conscious entity. It's a super conscious entity, and it transcends. It's a transcendental entity, and it can neither be heard by the outer ears, or can be spoken with the tongue, or can be written by the pen. That Shabd is it passes all human conception and perception. It transcends all limitations of perception and conception, and duality. All duality and relativity, Shabd transcends. And then it is absolute truth. So what is Shabd? Shabd is the ship that we ride on to go to our true home. Shabd is God. Shabd is master, and Shabd is love. So before I finish my talk, so I told you blah 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 Shabd. Before I finish my talk, I will read a story of Mastanaji. Um, uh, so let's see. So we have, for those who didn't know, we have been reading a story of Mastanaji, who was a lover of Baba Sawan Singh, and whoever Baba Sawan Singh and Satpurush and Father God worked through him exactly like it worked through Sant Kirpal Singh. That whoever went to Mastanaji got the same thing that Baba Sawan Singh was giving. He was so intoxicated in love with Baba Sawan Singh, they called him Mastana. His real name is not Mastana, but they called him Mastana, means the crazy for God. He was so crazy for God. So here's a story of Mastanaji. One time, Mastanaji and some of the satsangis were passing through a jungle. They were carrying precious things and gold in the bags on their camel's back. They spent the night in the dense jungle. Next morning, some robbers from the area came to them and gave some almonds to Mastanaji. He did not accept them and asked why they were giving him almonds, as he did not know them or who they were. Yeah, they told him that they were giving the almonds thinking him a saint. They told him that the previous night, when they came to rob him, they took all the precious things while they were sleeping and placed them in a hidden place. That morning, they went to get all the stolen things and they could not find them. Then They then saw that they were lying on the back of the camel from where they stole them at midnight. Listening to their story, Mastanaji sat in meditation and found that Hazur, Baba Sawan Singh, came and brought the things back and protected them. He told everybody and told the robbers it was not him, it was his beloved master who brought the things back. Before leaving, Hazur told Mastanaji that he should pass the jungle during daytime because it was dangerous jungle. It was a dangerous jungle. So this story, what we learned from this story is that Master is always protecting us, especially when we grow our roots in Him day by day, we progress towards Master, then the protection increases, and then we can even, Ishwar Puriji says that we reach levels where we can see the protection of Master outside, that we can see him sitting next to us. We can see him going to whoever is trying to stop us or hinder our way or put obstacles in our way and remove the obstacle. That we will see him working for us with even the outer eyes. That it's something very, very beautiful that we will reach those levels at some point. And I can't wait. I'm looking forward. So now I think Sarah wants to say something. Oh, Juhi, thank you so much for your beautiful shabd. And every shabd that is translated like this, like Juhi and Vikas shabd, we will play it again, you know, or it is also translated like in reading. I'm talking about the recorded ones. We will play them again. Why not, right? Oh, okay,
Very
Sarah.
good idea that you brought up a few days ago. Thank you, Michael. Okay, gratitude. When we are not grateful, we take. It is basically being ungrateful. We treat the things that exist in our lives as if they were taken for granted. When we take things for granted, we are inadvertently taken them from ourselves. The law of attraction says that similar attracts similar. So if we take something for granted, we cause it to be taken from us. Remember, he who does not know gratitude, even what he has even what he has will be taken from him or from her. Obviously, we tend to be grateful, but in order to envision magic and and bring about a fundamental change in our current life circumstances, we must use gratitude and make it our new lifestyle. Knowledge is a treasure, but practice is the key to attain it. I wish all of us to grow in gratitude to our beloved Ishwar Puriji and enjoy the magic of his abundance, love, and grace. Thank you very much, Master, for the seva. Thank you.
That's great, you know, as usual. Michael sets the stage. And today, Sarah also set the stage for gratitude. And that is what I was going to talk, that how this gratitude is there, that we have been given a human body. You know, after so many species, we came to this body. And the biggest gratitude is this, that he has granted us this part. And then, as you grow further, the next gratitude comes once we listen about the masters from our friends or colleagues, you know. This is how that gratitude starts flowing. And finally, we meet the master. The biggest gratitude is this, that we have got him now. Now, going through this path is a beautiful area to understand about the gratitude, that how he has brought us to this level, and we could even meet him and see him eye to eye. We could meet him there. Now, having all these gratitudes with us, he has told us something wonderful, as the subject today goes, that relax your body. So he has told us, and since this body has been given, which can rather make the yearning, each time you listen songs and bhajans, the divine, the desire of of all of us, who would like to meet him and would like to get his grace. So then, after this, we cross through an area where he tells us that, as Kabir says, tan thir man thir. Tan means the body. The body has to be calm, and it has to be relaxed, It should be still. So you have to keep this body in a posture where it is fully relaxed, because Master has told us to travel through this body, as Michael was saying, through this mind, the physical mind, the masks, then the other body, the astral body and the astral mind, and then going further into causal mind and causal body. These masks are there. So a beautiful method has been told to us, that Tanthir, make the body still and most comfortable posture, whatever you can have. And then the Sant Kabir says, Tanthir Manthir. This mind, which is part of all the different minds, how huge it is. Now it is your lifetime here, which has got so much of information of past and future, is your mind here, the physical mind. And as soon as you rise above this, then you get interaction with your astral mind, which has got information of many, many lives, And again, it has got past and future both. And it is just giving you that information. So that mind also needs to be stilled, As Kabir says, I repeat again, Tanthir Manthir. So body has to be calm, relaxed, and this mind, which been running into past and future all life, this life, since we are born till now and we pre-calculate future, etc., fears and worries get added. So now the next point is that how to really put this mind into rest. It should be stilled, So a beautiful thing has been given to us by the perfect living masters. It is the Simran. And this Simran is so strong. And how nicely, because instead of getting into past and future, so many mingle jingle, of the whole world, which keeps on withdrawing your attention to those things of the past and future and the things which the body needs. Now, a beautiful method has been told to us, that how we can put this mind, we have to put it as, I must say the word, is calming the mind, because this is very shrewd. The mind is very shrewd. So you are taming the shrew. So how to tame the shrew? As Michael was right now saying about the Shabad. And that Shabad is there, which can make the mind settle down. So it is the Simran first, that Simran has to be all the time during the day? Because this habit forming results when we are in the meditation, at that moment when we rise above the physical mind, then this astral mind involves us. So now if we remember the Simran in the astral mind also, so the astral mind can show you many, many things. So many beliefs all your life and others been in trying to tell you about demigods and all, and you start looking into those areas. So something wonderful has been told, that the Simran has to be there in the astral body also, and in the astral mind. And there, what has been told? Now the next part which I want to say, that this attention has to go into seeing. How masters have told that we see that darkness, and masters have told us to see, in the center of that darkness without blinking an eye. Now this is what is practiced like Tratak also. But here the masters have told us wonderful things, so simple, that if it is all dark, you got to see in the center of that darkness and keep your glass eye fixed to that. Keep on watching that. And this is how the Kabir says, the tan thir man thir. Then he says, surat nirat thir hoy. Surat means the attention. Nirat is power to see. Where these two optical nerves meet inside, that is where the power to see lies. And we got to invoke that power to see into the center of the darkness. And once we are watching so closely into that, then, the other day Michael was saying about the needle and the thread. So that in that center, that particular example which Michael has told you comes up there. And if you remember this part of the satsang, which is being done every day to remind you, to keep you so intact, from the whole world, that you see that small little part of that needle through which you got to put that thread. So that thread is your attention, which is going into the seeing first. And while you are seeing, you just enter that small little light, which expands, and the daylight happens there. Now, what you got to be very alert. And Sujan, they say it, Chatur Sujan, clever and alert. Now, this cleverness and alertness here has to remind you that you got to put this attention into Shabad. Because that Shabad, that little sound, which starts resounding and starts segregating into the celestial music. And that is what will take you further from the causal mind and from the universal mind to your doorstep. And that is where, as soon as you cross from the astral and come up at the causal, and that is where the master meets you, and he holds your hand in that light and music, where you are really dancing and nothing more. You're enjoying that part, and then slowly entering into that small little slit, going ahead and enjoying your life. Now you are so lucky. You got to be having a lot of gratitude towards the organizers of this satsang, because they are not leaving you even for a day. And that particular thing comes with that practice and habit forming. Every time you get small little clues from all the speakers, and everybody tells you a method to go a little closer onto that, and it happens every day. And I can see that spirit. I was told that Michael gets up in the morning, early morning, he does all those chores, and then he's so busy, and in spite of all that, he organizes all this, and the whole team, and the people who are here to listen, because it is for them. It is so lovely. Now, I would request that all of us should start talking about this inner journey to all our friends, nears and dears. This is how there are seekers, There are so many seekers. They go to different places. They throng those places in huge numbers. And unfortunately, they are not being guided properly. So this satsang, is like a hawker, that this satsang should increase to many folds. So many people should join hands here. We are hardly, today I can see that we are about 38 people here. Now, this is the job of all of us to increase these seekers, And seekers are there, I tell you, because Nanak Dukhiya Sab Sansar. The whole world is so in turmoil, They are all seekers. Dukhiya, Nanak Dukhiya Sab Sansar, Sukhi Wahi, Jo Naam Adhar. The people who are connected to the Naam, they get this wealth, They are the only ones, So this is what you got to see to your fellow men, fellow beings, how sad they are in their lives, Many times Ishwar Puriji explains this part, and he meets so many people, and finally he knows that everybody is in a turmoil, and he's now fed up. Now looking into the point that your light means your surat, means your attention, which is like a particle of light, which is connected through Shabad to its source. So how scientifically beautifully it has been explained now. Now you can talk to people who are really connected through science, and they want to understand in this manner. You can say that you are a particle of light connected to the basic particle and wave theory. If you can simply mention this part, the people who have gone through those classes of physics, they can understand easily. The youngsters, who go to the colleges and study things, they are engineers and all. This particle and wave theory confirms this part, that you are a particle of light and connected with the wave to the source, and which is everywhere, omniscient, omnipresent. Now, this particular particle of light, once you explain the particle of light, there is a beauty to explain this in this manner, which I'm trying to say this. Say, for example, if there is darkness in this room, as soon as the light appears, everything is visible and understandable. So if you can use this simile for those seekers, that, well, you are that light, and as soon as you reach that level of your light, then you can understand what the whole gambit is. And your journey starts from there. You have known about the universal mind, the whole universe. You knew because you are part of omniscient, omnipresent. Everything you knew, and you took a decision. It was your free will to come here and feel this creation, but not to get entrapped into it. And that's how we came. We enjoyed all that life, from single cell, 8.4 million species, because we have got that ability. What is that ability? Which is the divine ability, is let us face as it comes. You already have this ability, my dear, in all those circumstances. So whatever you lose or gain in this life, don't be bothered about it, because it is all, it is all part of give and take, and it is happening. You are here, you're enjoying, because you came to feel all this. So what really happened? Then the universal mind impressed you. It is so huge and so big, you wanted to have an experience. Then you created your own mind by acquiring the mind from the universal mind and making it as a causal mind. Causal means the cause. Cause was to come and feel it here. So you created this causal mind. So you are that capable force, I tell you. You are that. Because from a single cell, you graduated to the crown of creation, the human body. You did it because you are connected to the absolute, and absolute is helping you. And that's how you graduated from there, by using the causal mind and created a causal body. I say it is like a sketch, refined it into astral mind and an astral body, a huge area. You decided how to start from a single cell, and 8.4 million species you crossed. You loved it, I tell you, because you've been through it. And at that time, you were just going through it because you had the ability to face things as they come. Finally, once you came up in the human body, this physical body, and that is what made you a trap here. Because you thought you were a body only. There was nobody to tell you this. And because we were not inverted, the attention came out from the body and started looking outside into the world. So the gambit of this attention, which is like an omni scanner, it started flowing into things all around you and outside you. And you started taking interest in them. And you thought you were a body, might is right. And you will win over things and you will do everything. Now, this is what you got in DGV. So the word Ishwar Puriji speaks is individuated. So you became an individual once you acquired the mind, you know. Otherwise, you were connected. So now you are trying to behave as an individual. And that individual started working with that ego. And that ego, you know, that was that strong that you said, yes, I am doing it. It's my body, my mind. I know everything. So these egos came in my day. And a beautiful method by Sant Mat. And I'll definitely say that Swamiji Maharaj opened the floodgates for that in Agra. And before that, Tulsi Sahab opened this for everyone to understand this. Then gradually it started flowing for the common people to understand in the common language. So the saints come here, they take our body, you know, they do all those sufferings for you just to tell you that, well, my dear, you are a soul, you are not this mind, you are not this body. And this is how we started progressing into this area. And I must, you know, congratulate all of you that we have got the perfect living master Ishwar Puriji with us, and my mother who really taught me all this. And I had got blessings from Saman Singh Ji Maharaj, from Kripal Singh Ji, from Charan Singh Ji Maharaj, and from Ishwar Puriji, for all those saints, you know, even Thakur Singh Ji, Ajab Singh Ji, everybody been coming to our place. And I am so lucky that even Michael came to our place, and I loved that. And that's how, you know, we are all getting together. We are all co-travelers, my dear. Let us all help each other to achieve each day something little more and little more. So what I said, I'll just repeat and finish my talk. That first of all, we must relax the body. And as soon as we relax the body, we put that Simran into the mind, the physical mind starts doing it. Then gradually the Simran flows further into the astral mind and the astral body. And then gradually what really happens, that you put that attention into seeing first. And as soon as you go through that that needle, as Michael explains beautifully well, you put that thread into that needle, and that is where you enter and put all your attention into listening the music, and that's it. It is done then. Then the floodgates open. Thank you very much for listening, and thanks a lot. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Sean. That was so beautiful, your talk, like always. And I also loved coming to your place and loved meeting your mom. It was
Welcome.
so
Welcome.
holy, very
Thank you.
holy.
Thank you.
So now we can do 5 minutes meditation to
Right.
prepare ourselves to listen to our Holy Father, Ishwar Puriji.
Thank you. Thank you. Thanks.
In Brisbane, you might have noticed I've taken my jacket off because now we have to work. Talking one can do with jackets on, but when you have to work, you have to be ready. We have to meditate. in the manner which will lead to the results I was speaking of with you this morning. Before we do the meditation, I am now routinely doing, in my meditation workshops, routinely doing 2 exercises to train ourselves to move our attention where we like, especially good for newcomers, and also to show that the sense perceptions do not belong to this body, but they can be used independently of this body. So that when we have astral experiences, we can move around with the same facility of perceptions as we have here, or even better. The first exercise is called the orange juice experiment. Some of you might have heard about it, might have done it also, but those who haven't done it, I encourage them to join me in that exercise. In this experiment, we will consider that our body is made of glass. It is transparent. It is hollow. There is nothing inside. Only the shape of the body is like a glass vessel. We have to, by our imagination, fill up this glass bottle, which is shaped like our body, with orange juice. We have to think that there is orange juice flowing. We pack the orange juice in our feet, in our legs, take it in our whole body, into our arms, hands, and take it all the way to the top of the head. We have to leave no space empty. The whole body should be completely filled up with orange juice. After that is done, we will use 2 sets of valves. Some are in the fingertips. When we press our fingers, the orange juice flows out. When we relax, it stays inside. Similarly, we have valves in the toes of our feet. When we press our toes of the feet in front, the orange juice flows out. When we relax, it stops. This is the kind of valves we have in the body. I will from time to time give you instructions when to use these valves and what to do with the orange juice inside the body. So now let us close our eyes and sit in such a way that you don't have to move. If you move or shake, the body is made of glass, it will break. So you have to be very steady during this experiment and put yourself in upright position and not too relaxed or too humped or something, but be conscious that you are now sitting inside an empty glass bottle. Imagine you are empty glass bottle and start filling yourself up with orange juice, starting from the feet and going all the way up to the head. Close your eyes and begin. Watch the orange juice level as it is growing up from the feet up in your legs. See it going all the way up. You will notice that during our sessions here, when I do meditation at the end, I'll be rubbing my forehead and eyes, rubbing my hands and arms, and sometimes the knees also. This we do when we do deep meditation and we become unaware of the body. When we come back, this helps in rapid getting back into the body and feeling physical again. That's why just a routine that I do. How many of you were able to successfully do this orange juice experiment? Very good. How many of you were absolutely able to clear the body of all orange juice? How many of you had some orange juice sticking when you finished the experiment? You all did pretty good. Now, if you find that orange juice was sticking in any part of your body, even after you're trying to get rid of it, it means that that part of your physical body needs some help. It's also a diagnostic way to find out where there are blocks in the body where your attention can be trapped. Why did we do this exercise? Because during this exercise, you moved your attention at every part of the body just because I was telling you to do it. I said, look at the surface of the orange juice on top of the head. Your attention went right there. I said, stop and hold at the eye level. Your attention went there. Every time I mentioned a level, your attention was able to not only go there, but see the level of the orange juice. The purpose of this exercise was to show you this attention, which moved all over the body, is the very attention you will be using in meditation. You are able to personally experience what is needed for meditation. What is needed is the concentration of the very attention which you just used in this experiment. It's just a way to enable you to know what exactly are we going to do when we say put your attention here or put your attention there. We'll do a second exercise now. In this exercise, we will assume that this body of ours is a house in which we live. This house has many floors. Indeed, it has 6 floors. Starting from the bottom of the torso, it has 6 floors, divided by different organs where we stopped during the orange juice experiment. Ultimately, they end up at the eyes. Behind the eyes is your 6th floor room where you are normally living and where you will be during this exercise. During this exercise, you will feel that you are living in your house on the 6th floor, and the 6th floor is behind the eyes, and you will put a nice chair there. On the side of the chair, you will have a little side table like I have here. On the side table, you will place a bunch of flowers like these, not just a copy of the flowers, your favorite flowers. On the side, there will be a beverage, a drink of your choice, which you like. There will be a plate with snacks of your choice, your favorite snacks. You will imagine these things are there next to you in the 6th floor of your house, where you're sitting in the center on a chair. Once you are able to establish that feeling that this is a house, you are in the 6th floor, sitting at the back, in the center, and the table is next to you, then I will give you further instructions what to do. So close your eyes and make this body your house in which you live. Figure out the body has 6 floors, all the 5 floors are below you. There's an elevator at the back of the body running along the spine. There's a staircase in front of you going from one floor to another, right to the bottom. And you are right now at the 6th floor. And you're sitting behind the eyes, in the center of that room. Look at that room and see, do you recognize it? Do you like that room that's on the 6th floor? If you don't, decorate it. Put a nice chair in the center with your imagination. Put a nice side table. Put some drapes or curtains, if you like, on the side windows. Make it a nice place so you enjoy sitting there. Now place on the side table a vase of flowers, a drink and your snack. Favorite drink, favorite snack, favorite flowers. How many of you could successfully do this experiment? How many of you saw that the flowers you saw were different from the flowers you were imagining? How many of you saw the color of the flowers changing? How many of you were able to recognize the scent, the fragrance of the flower? How many of you felt it was new? How many of you were able to take a sip of the drink and feel it's different than you imagined? How many of you felt the second sip was different from the first one? How many of you liked the snack that you ate? How many of you still have the taste of the snack in your mouth? Very good. That was quite a feast. There was no flour. There was no drink. There was no snack. And you not only had the experience of all these, but you still have the taste of what we did in your mouth. Where did it come from? Can imagination create all sense perceptions? Yes, it does. You just did it. You think what is imaginary. What we call imagination is not as imaginary as we think. It looks imaginary to us sitting here because we have determined this physical world to be the only reality. Everything else is imaginary. When you will rise to a level where you will withdraw your attention from the body, the very imagination you thought was imaginary will become reality. The physical world will look like it was just imaginary. Such a big shift in your experience of reality takes place. You cannot imagine anything unless it exists in the astral plane. I just guided you. I just guided you to have a few experiences, but you will have your own independent experiences. And the beauty is that the power of imagination is so strong that whatever you imagine becomes a reality in the astral plane. And look at the type of difference that we have living here. We are stuck in something already programmed around us. Our imagination changes nothing here, but imagination changes everything in the astral plane. We can have such a variety of experiences in the astral plane. These sense perceptions that you experienced did not have any relation with this body, but they were your experiences. You had them. They were part of your imagination, part of your creativity. And it was not physical imagination, because some of you saw things you had no intention of imagining. How many of you had an experience where you wanted to imagine something else, but what turned out was different? So many of you. That shows that what is existing in the astral plane can come up. Not by your imagination. You can imagine one thing, something else can turn up from there. It's just an exercise to show the independence of our sense perceptions. Why did I do this exercise with you? To prepare you that when you do meditation and withdraw attention, you will be able to have experiences, sensory experiences, seeing, touching, tasting, smelling, everything, and not be connected with this body at all. But as you withdraw your attention from the body, that will become more and more real. Where 50% of the attention goes up, that becomes real. If less than 50% goes up, remains imaginary, this remains real. It's our attention that is creating reality for us. And you can check it out. This experiment was just to show the great potential, the possibility of seeing things, experiencing a new world. A world which has such things, which we don't even have here. A world where things change. And you will feel that the world here was dreamlike, that you have awakened to a higher reality. When you will come back to the body, like I called you by counting 5, I count 5 to give you a feeling now you have to open your eyes, to anticipate your opening of eyes at the count of 5, that withdrawal back to this reality tends to make it, that was imaginary, dreamlike. But when you're there, that's more real. There was a Chinese philosopher. His name was Fa Hin. Fa Hin had a dream. In the dream, he felt he was a butterfly. And he was flapping his wings and going into all the flowers. The flowers were very different from what he had seen. They had light coming out of those flowers, illuminated. And they changed colors as he watched them. He had never seen those flowers at all. And he said, this is the reality. I am actually a butterfly flying and look at real flowers. And then he woke up in the physical body. And this became real. But the thought came to him, am I really Faheen, who had a dream that I was a butterfly? Or am I really a butterfly, who's now dreaming that I am Faheen the philosopher? He told his friends, I had a very strange dream, he told them, in which I became a butterfly. And the friend said, you can't become a butterfly, you are a human being. Don't say you became butterfly. What happened was you saw a butterfly in your dream. Faheen said, I never saw any butterfly. I was the butterfly. I was flapping my wings. And I was the one who was looking at the flowers. It was my eyes, the eyes of a butterfly, that was seeing everything. And when I woke up, it became the same eyes of me, a human being. It's the same being who was looking at those flowers. And he contemplated that no matter what form we take, the self, the feeling this is me, this is myself, never changes. He became a butterfly, but he was still the same self as Faheen, the philosopher in human body. Which means it does not matter how many times you change your forms, yourself, your awareness, this is your own self, in that form never changes. You'll notice the self, where you feel this is me, this is myself, whether in this body or dream body, when you go to sleep in a dream, the dream body that runs around, you don't see it, you run around, but you become the dream body. If in a dream you become a bird, you fly, yes, the same you that's awake as a human being. You'll notice with this meditational practice, by going on the spiritual path, that everything will change except the self. The self will always be the same, no matter whether it has form or no form. It's totally formless. The experience of the self is still the same. It was the same self that was the human body, it's the same self that's the butterfly, the same self that's become a causal body, the same self that is formless, the same self which is totality of all consciousness, it's the same self that's the whole creation. Self will never change. That is why, if the definition of reality is that which does not change, then the only real thing is the self. Everything else changes. Everything else changes, except the self. Reality is the self. And all this changing situation, changing experiences are occurring around the self and because of the self. Because the self is the only conscious part. Self is the only conscious part which can experience these things. Supposing in a dream you see 20 people and it appears all 20 have their self. Are you seeing through 20 people or one person? Only one. The dreamer has gone into the dream and all others are created by the dream. Looks like everybody is like me. And they must also be seeing my dream. Maybe we are all dreaming together. Maybe 20 of us are dreaming. You wake up, only one was dreaming. The 20 were part of that dream. When you realize that this truth goes on till the entire discovery of yourself, you will find the many have just been created by one dreamer, by one creator. The totality of consciousness remains one and is continuously the self. I mentioned to you in the morning about the power of sound, which changes into something different at the top. What is that sound? Where does it come from? From the self. The sound and the self go together. Therefore, I said the sound pulls you within because it's coming from the sound, from the self. That is why they say the whole creative power is the self. In the Bible, they say, in the beginning was the Word. And the Word was with God, and the Word was God. Why do they say Word? They could have said power. In the beginning there was a power, and that power was with God, and power was... Why did they say Word? Because a word can be spoken and listened to. And the power of that creative being, starting from the very totality, coming to this physical world, can be heard and listened to. We can listen within ourselves. It's the same power, unbroken power. Our word, the connection of consciousness of the self, is a continuous connection right to the top of our true home. It never changes. Levels of experience change. The whole world changes when we go from one level to another. But the self experiencing that world never changes, remains the same. That is why they say, if you have self-realization, you are just one step from God realization. Because the self is just a created unit of God realization, which itself is created by illusion. This world is not illusion. People say this world is Maya, illusion. And I say, if it was illusion, we would not take so much interest in it. It's reality. We have used the process of illusion by consciousness that blocks everything else and makes it real. There was a famous dancer in India, Miss Sarabhai, and she had a dance school, and they said dance is a form of spiritual expression. I gave a talk in Ahmedabad, in her city. She invited me to have a cup of tea. When we were having a cup of tea, she said, one question has always baffled me. That when we say this world is Maya, Mithya, illusion, it doesn't look like that. Why is that? I said, because we are mistaking two things for one. We are mistaking the experience of something with the thing. When I take a sip of water, here I am going to do. I have just tasted some nice water in my mouth. Was it a Maya? Was it illusion? No, I had experience. How can you call your personal experience an illusion? When I taste something, I have actually tasted it, it's actual reality. How can you say it's illusion? Where is the illusion then? What is meant by Maya? What is meant by Maya is, because I picked up the cup of water here, because I took it to my mouth and I tasted it, the taste of water was real. I thought the cup is also real, the water is also real. These were not real. Taste was real. We are mixing up experience with things. An experience is generated and gives us experience of things. It's the other way around than we think. We think water has to be there, then we can drink it. Okay, let me take a more imminent, immediate experience in a dream. Supposing in a dream I did the same thing. I picked up a glass of water and sipped it. Wonderful taste. And I keep it back and I wake up. The experience of the water was real. It did not disappear. I remember it. You remembered your experience in imagination. But the glass disappeared. The water disappeared. It was the experience of drinking the water that created the cup and created the water, and that's the Maya. Maya is very subtle. It's not pure illusion. It is an illusion created from actual experience. The experience is always actual, is always real. When we begin to say a material thing is creating the experience, that's the illusion. That's Maya. That's the correct definition. I gave that example to Miss Sarabhai. I said, here we have a cup of tea. You are enjoying the cup of tea, so am I. Can you call it your own taste, your own actual experience of tasting tea? Can you call it a myth? Can you call it a Maya? Can you call it illusion? You're having it right now. You can't say, hey, you had no experience. You did. real, true experience, real experience. But then we assume that the cup was real, the tea was real, and that's the illusion. The illusion is from an experience we jump to the fact that the exterior form which we associate with that experience is creating that experience, and therefore the outside things are more real than even the experience. This is the mistake that we make, which makes an outside world more real than the experience of the outside world. Philosophers have been talking about this subject. They have been saying, you look at a tree. Is the tree there because you can see it? Or you are seeing it because it is there? Is there a real tree? Then only you can see it? Or you are seeing it, that creates the tree? Those who say there has to be a real tree before you can see it are called the materialists. Those who say no, your ability to see a tree creates the experience of a tree outside. They are called idealists. The battle between the idealists and materialists has gone on for centuries. For thousands of years they have been discussing it with no conclusion. Do we have to continue with this endless debate, or can we find a way to test this out? For example, if I had the experience of a tree in a dream, and I was questioning myself, is there a real tree that I am seeing? Or am I making up the tree because I am seeing it? I can't decide it. When I wake up, answer comes immediately. The tree wasn't there. I was making it up, but I was seeing it as real. Therefore, if you want to find an answer, is the materialist right or the idealist right? Wake up. Just one step. Just awaken to one next level of consciousness, you get the answer straight away. Now these mystics who have been doing these wakeful experiences, getting to higher levels of consciousness, what is their testimony? They say, we have found out that when you awake, you find that all the things that look real are being created by experiences which are real. Things become real because of that. The scientists say, no, we have another test. Our test is, if a tree is not brought in front of you, you can't see it. If you could make a tree, it should be there before it is brought to you. So when you bring in front a tree, then you see it. So tree has to come first, then you see it. Then the idealists say, then there should be a time lag between a tree and your seeing of the tree. All studies have shown that it's simultaneous. The tree and seeing of the tree take place at the exact same moment. There's no gap. If there was a gap, you could say that when I saw a tree came afterwards. Or when the tree came, I saw it afterwards. But seeing of a tree and the tree are simultaneous. Therefore, the questions remain unanswered until we can go to a higher state of wakefulness. Then the answer comes automatically. Once you go into a higher state of consciousness through meditation and stop arguing outside, stop debating it all outside, you get the answer that the consciousness is making up the entire universe, that the consciousness is the creator of all experiences, the consciousness is the creator of the world, the totality of consciousness is the ultimate creator of everything. Not by speculation, but by awakening to the higher state. So that's why these mystics say that these deep questions, why am I here? Why am I born? They're all created because we are not looking at the right place for the answers. We're looking at the illusion and trying to see this must be real because we are not willing to turn around. Famous Greek philosopher, Socrates, he gives an example. You might have, some of you read, that he gives the example of 3 people standing in front of a cave. And the light behind the cave is making their shadows inside the cave. They're looking at the shadows, and as they move, the shadows move also. And they say, these are monsters, 3 monsters out to eat us. And we have to huddle together. The more they huddle, the monsters huddle also. And they say, this is terrible, these monsters, be alert. The monsters are going to eat us up. A man coming from outside looks at these stupid people. They don't realize these are shadows being cast by the light behind them. He tells them, look, these are shadows. Turn around and see the light. You will automatically find out these are shadows cast by yourself. And they say, don't listen to this man. He's a co-conspirator with these monsters. He's come to destroy us along with these monsters, and they won't turn around. Can you imagine? Socrates says we are like that. We are casting shadows and making 3-dimensional, 4-dimensional, 11-dimensional experiences outside from consciousness. And somebody says the light inside is casting these shadows, and we're not willing to turn around and see. We're not willing to go within and see where the light is casting a shadow. Because our attention is gripped by the objects being created. It is so gripped by objects, by external forms. We have no time, no intention, no understanding of going to see how it's being created. I'll give you another example. We go to see a movie. On the screen, there are shadows. The film is laid in the projector. Behind the film is the light. The light passes through the film. Film moves at a certain speed and causes those images, those shadows to look like real. And we are sitting in the audience. We are looking at the screen. We're not looking behind what is happening there. We take it as real. We cry. We worry what's going to happen next. We get so emotionally involved in the drama going on with shadows, they look like real to us. We take pity on them. We have compassion for those characters. They are all shadows on a predetermined, pre-scripted, pre-filmed celluloid behind us. Nobody turns around to see, these are just shadows. We get so involved in seeing that. If we could just know, they are not real. We are making them real. And why are we making them real? To have an experience. We got a ticket, we bought a ticket with money, and then we see monsters on the screen. We see tragedies and monsters on the screen and pay a ticket to see it. Because we make them real. This world is exactly like that. Our attention is grabbed by these, and we have our emotional attachments. We have all our feelings for shadows which have become real. Those shadows are single dimension. So we can say, maybe they are only on the screen, but now they have made 3D movies. I don't know if there's anyone here in Brisbane, but in Disneyland, in the United States, they have 3D cameras, and 2 cameras take pictures from the distance of the eyes, and they create a feeling of distance. Even the picture, the two pictures being shown, they combine the same way these eyes combine, and we see those things coming near us. A butterfly comes flying near you, and actually in the audience, people try to fly it off. There's no butterfly, that's on the screen. It's just an illusion created of 3 dimensions. In one show, I went.
My dear Holy Family, it's time now to go to our true home, to come up here to the doorway of the Kingdom of God and repeat the Holy Simran slowly at intervals with the tongue of thought. Hold Master's hand, have a few nice words for Ishwarji, and commence on your journey to God and the Kingdom of God. I wish you the best meditation. I'll keep Zoom on for 20 minutes so we can meditate together. And I hope to see you tomorrow for another holy day in Holy Ishwarji.